we're back.
It's us again, the horror guys.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some horror movies.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we got a quote for you today.
Yeah?
The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown.
Nice. Who said that?
I'll give you one guess.
H.P. Lovecraft?
It is.
Henry Pennyworth Lovecraft.
What?
Henry Pennyworth Lovecraft, right?
Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
I was close.
Hewlett-Packard.
I knew that.
And the other HPs.
Uh-huh. He wrote some books.
He did.
And stories.
Yeah.
Cthulhu and the Necronomicon and all those things.
Notice how slowly you say that.
I do have to say that slow, yes. Those all came from his imagination.
Yes. He invented the entire genre of cosmic horror.
And he lived from 1890 to 1937, and I bet
how do you
there's
know
some
that?
Interesting things about his life, isn't there?
There could be.
There could be.
Yes, this week is brought to you by H.P. Lovecraft, the biography, published by me at hourlongpress.com. You can in the show notes there would be a link to it. You can pick it up on Amazon. It is exclusive to Amazon. It's one of those little short biographies like we did last year. Of course, last year we did like Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, both the Lon Chaneys, and a couple other guys who immediately don't come to mind.
Lots of great names.
A lot of little biographies, including now Howard Phillips Lovecraft. And this is Sunday night as we record this. Tonight and tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, it's free.
Nice.
We started it on Friday, and 5 days it's free, so get it while you can.
And check out the other fine titles from Our Long Press.
Yep. And, of course, if you are a subscriber to Kindle Unlimited, Amazon subscription service, you can read them all for free anytime.
Yeah, they're all available.
Which is always
there.
fun.
Yeah.
So, anyway, H.P. Lovecraft was this really twisted dude. He had some issues.
He did, yeah.
He did.
He had a hard life, and it came out in his writing, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, we've got some movies. We didn't say what movies we had this week. What do we got?
We got 1993's Necronomicon, Book of the Dead.
Say it 3 times fast.
No, I'm not going to. 1995's Castle Freak. 1994, The Lurking Fear. No, not The Lurking Fear, just
Lurking.
Lurking Fear.
Which is weird.
Yeah. 1991, The Resurrected. And 2005, The Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. And I will come right out there and say I kind of liked all of these.
I was entertained by all of them.
They're not the greatest movies.
Well, no,
none of them are great.
They're 90s.
Yeah.
And 90s tends to be mid a lot. In my opinion.
90s are either the best of all time or just mid,
Yeah. But I think that The Resurrected probably was my favorite of them.
I think that was probably the best
week's.
made. Yeah.
Yeah. Best story, I think. And yeah, Chris Sarandon in it.
Castle Freak was kind of fun.
Yeah. None of them were bad. But yeah, Resurrected was the best, I think. I think The Call of Cthulhu was interesting.
That was more of an art project than a feature film.
But it's a silent movie. Yeah. Yeah.
The kind, Lovecraft would have made in the 1920s and 30s.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start out with the newest one. 2005's Call of Cthulhu. Directed by Andrew Lehman. Written by H.P. Lovecraft and Sean Branney. Stars Matt Foyer, John Bolin, and Ralph Lucas. 47 minutes. There's a trailer in the show notes. And a link where you can buy it if you wanted to. It's available on DVD.
And one of the nice things about H.P. Lovecraft is if you get a hankering to make an H.P. Lovecraft movie like these folks did, or if you want to write a book that's in the H.P. Lovecraft universe, you can tie them in freely because it's all royalty free.
Yeah.
It's out of
public domain.
It's in public domain now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old enough. And he wasn't strong on publishing and copywriting and so forth. That didn't help.
Well, most of his stuff was copyrighted after his death.
Yeah.
But even that's kind of up for debate at this point.
Yeah.
We got some more copyright issues to talk about next week on the show. We got a weird selection coming up, too.
But anyway, like we were saying, this was like a trip to the old days of silent film. It's black and white, interspaced with speech panels instead of dialogue with a movie soundtrack. And they did capture the look and the feel of the movies from the 20s, but the film speed and quality, if you watch a true silent movie from that era and this one,
This was way too sharp and clear.
Yeah, it was way too sharp, and there's a jerkiness to the old films.
I mean, they added
that this
grain
doesn't-
and blur to it, and the bad the artifacts and stuff, but you could tell.
Yeah, but the style of it, they did a pretty darn good capture in it, and it does tell the story. And it's said that this is an especially hard story to put to film. It hasn't really been done much or done successfully.
Yeah, well, this is really the only Call of Cthulhu movie that there is.
There's
other movies
others
out there with
based on
names
it.
and based on it and adaptations, but this is, really as close as it gets to the real story.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool, and it's short, so it's worth checking out.
47 minutes, yes.
And it's on Amazon, available on Amazon. And other places, probably.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
Well, two men talk about one of their great uncle's life work. This one guy's telling the other guy, and later on we find out he's telling his psychiatrist the stuff. The man wants the other man to burn his uncle's stories. He tells us that he was the executor of the old man's estate, including a locked box full of folders and news clippings. And it tells the story of Henry Wilcox, who has a new wood carving of something he saw in a dream last night, and he takes it to the narrator's great uncle. Well, he felt the earthquake last night very strongly, and all through his dream last night, something was calling to him with a name he couldn't pronounce.
Cthulhu.
What?
Cthulhu.
Can't pronounce it.
And it is spelled funny.
It is, yes.
Yeah, if you'd never heard it and saw it, you would, like, what? Cthulhu? What?
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor asks Wilcox to start writing down his dreams. He does this, along with many pictures, which greatly upset him. He continues to show the great uncle what he's seen. Henry falls into a fever, and the old man tries to care for him, but once the fever broke, he didn't get any more visions, nor could he remember the old ones. Well, we cut to the American Archaeological Society, where a detective talks to a professor. He shows him an object, and one man there recognizes it. We get a flashback to a tribe that worshipped a god named Cthulhu. Well, and that's where the man lost his eye, because you notice he's wearing an eye patch.
Yep.
The inspector tells the man his tale from last year when he investigated some disappearances in the New Orleans swamp. "This ain't no voodoo cult. This is the devil hisself," says one witness.
I like how you read it in an accent, and all it was in the movie was a speech panel.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't.
Well, they're New Orleans, okay, all
But
right.
it's really spelled that way, too. Hisself. Hisself.
That is what he said, yes.
Yeah, that's how he said it. So.
Well, the cultists were chanting the Cthulhu ritual as the police watched. 47 cultists were arrested, and one of them explains that they worship the great old ones, who sleep now, but will reclaim their world soon. Great Cthulhu lies sleeping in Raleigh, and he'll be awakening soon.
That's a city under the ocean.
Yes.
Yes.
And things escalate from there.
Yes, they do.
As you said, it's a black and white silent film done in the style of a movie from Lovecraft's day, the 1920s and 30s. It's done in the style of the old German expressionist films, and it looks pretty good considering. The island that it ends up with has all these jagged rocks that go out in all these crazy angles. It's a neat set.
Yeah, it is.
But the whole thing was released through the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. They financed it, they produced it, they acted in it. It's essentially a fan film. The story, probably Lovecraft's most famous, has long been considered unfilmable, so this is a pretty good attempt.
Yeah, it was an interesting novelty. Yeah.
And I don't think with, the big money they've got today that they would have too much trouble doing it if they really wanted to.
If they put their mind to it.
But the story is pretty simple. It's a guy's going crazy, and he has flashbacks to,
telling the story
tribesmen on this island and
the ship of people that gets trapped on this island and disaster happens. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, then on to your favorite of the week was 1991's The Resurrected. Directed by Dan O'Bannon, written by H.P. Lovecraft and Brent Friedman, stars John Terry, Gene Sibbett, and Chris Sarandon, hour and 48 minutes, trailer in the usual places. Spoiler free. This is a detective story with a bit of mystery as a private investigator and his sidekicks put things together. We start out seeing the end and then get to see what led to that ending. The movie bogs down a bit in parts, but it's got a good story, and the conclusion is satisfying.
Yeah, I liked the detective kind of story aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Give us a taste.
Well, Charles Ward has escaped from the asylum, and the doctor isn't happy about it. Neither is the orderly, who's in the room because the orderly has lost his head.
Literally.
It's a big bloody mess in there. And the window is broken out. Clearly, Ward climbed out the window. Well, at the March Detective Agency, John March, a private investigator, dictates his story about Charles Dexter Ward. He flashes back a ways and talks about the city of Providence and the case. Claire Ward comes in to discuss a case. She needs some help. Her husband Charles was arrested for hiding some human remains.
Well, that's never a good thing.
Yeah, and since then he's been avoiding her. She tells a story about him abandoning a party in the middle of a party to go work in his laboratory in the carriage
It was
house.
a nice party. I got to go outside and play in my lab.
Yeah, that didn't go over well with her. And he had been working with a Dr. Ash, who is creepy, and she wanted him to move his lab somewhere else, which he did. And not long after, Charles was arrested for having the bodies in his possession. So John agrees to go check out Charles before he agrees to take the case. So John goes to a gas station, talks to a man cleaning up a dead dog.
As one always finds at the gas station.
Yeah, and the gas man is weird and creepy. But there's a lot of weird and creepy people in this. Yeah. And John finds his way to the Ward house, and he talks to Charles himself. And he's evasive, but not excessively so John leaves. Later he reads about vandalism at cemetery in the paper. Where these body parts are coming from. His assistant Lonnie calls and reports that the police found 8 bodies in Charles's old lab, and all the bodies were from dead occultists, wizards, and magical scholars.
That might be a pattern.
He's collecting a specific kind of bodies. Yeah. Well, John tells Claire what he's learned so far, and she explains that he found old family papers, which sparked some interest in a Joseph Kerwin, a reputed musician, magician.
Would have been nicer if he had been a musician.
Yeah, would have been more mellow. Yeah, he lived in an old house in the country, and they went to the old house and they found a painting of Kerwin, who happens to look just like Charles. Right after that, Charles started working late nights in the lab and got weird. And now he's got his lab away from where she lives, and she wants him back. Well, Claire shows John the painting and the carriage house, which has old bloody IV bags and animal blood in the fridge. Now, Mr. Frenner, the man across the street from Charles' new place, calls John, and when John arrives, the old man is dead. He is really dead. There is not much left of the body. Police think it was a wild animal attack. John has weird dreams that night. Well, Claire comes by in the morning with a cassette tape from Charles. He says he's made a terrible mistake, and he's afraid of her, and warns her to keep away from Dr. Ash. Don't even talk to him. So John and Claire go out to the farmhouse again, and Charles has changed. He seems really differently. Seems really different. He even talks differently, and he's got a British accent now even.
He was a nice-looking guy with clean teeth. Somebody even mentioned his nice teeth.
Uh-huh.
And then he's got this meth mouth, and he talks all ancient Britishy.
Well, so what's going on
Something's
here?
changed.
So we should leave it there.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Well, as we said, obviously, this is based on H.P. Lovecraft's The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. There's a lot of slow meandering through the dungeon in this one, to the point of boredom. This is like 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, there is an excessive dungeon scene.
Yeah. Despite the really slow middle, it had a good story, a good mystery, and a very cool conclusion. And then for another version of the story, we watched 1963's The Haunted Palace. Vincent Price, Lon Chaney Jr.
I like this one better.
Yeah, it's basically the same story, but this one is, 1963 Vincent Price. It was a lot campier.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
I thought this was entertaining. Good script, creepy effects, strong cast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What's worse than fear?
Lurking fear.
You don't want it to lurk. That's bad.
No, it just hangs around and festers.
1994's Lurking Fear, directed by C. Courtney Joyner, written by Lovecraft again and C. Courtney Joyner, stars John Finch, Blake Adams, and Ashley Lawrence. Hour and 16 minutes, trailer in the you-know-where.
You may recognize Kirsty from Hellraiser.
Yeah?
She's in this. It's
She's been
it's
in
not
lots
Ki-
of things, but it's
not
always
Kirsty.
from Hellraiser.
But
Those what everybody remembers her from.
Yep, yep. Spoiler free, this was kind of a mishmash of action and horror and crime drama. And it wasn't stronger for the mix. It was almost like it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. It was watchable, but not really great. I mean, it was okay. Probably my least favorite of the week, I think.
I kept getting reminded of Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's this group of people. Some of them are normal people. Some of them are criminals. And they all wind up in this big old place being attacked by monsters.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the same, but
and
it's
they sort of
close.
have to team up together to fight them.
Yeah. Well, we open on 2 women and a baby. They have guns, and Catherine doesn't approve. We see something with big claws reach through an air vent and try to kidnap the baby. It pulls Catherine's sister Lee through the tiny vent instead, breaking her apart.
That looked painful.
It's a very small vent.
Yeah, ouchie.
And credits roll. Well, we cut to John Martens, who's just been released from prison. He goes to see Nags, a mortician. They both have matching maps of a cemetery where a man is buried. The man is stuffed with money. Martens's father buried him, and Nags is the one who stuffed him. He's like a crooked mortician. Meanwhile, at the Lefferts Coroner's Cemetery, Catherine's there, burying a bundle of dynamite. I got a surprise for you tonight. Later, she helps Dr. Haggis subdue a recovering addict. He helps her load more dynamite onto a truck. Dr. Haggis is, of course, Jeffrey Combs, who seems to be in almost all the Lovecraft movies for some reason.
He is drawn to them, yeah.
Back in the mortuary, Nags meets Mrs. Marlowe, a recent widow. She pulls a gun on him. Turns out she works for Bennett, a gangster. They cut open his current customer and fish bags of drugs. They steal his copy of the map, shoot him, and head after Martens. Well, Catherine Haggis and her people talk to Father Poole at the church. These damn things have been living under our feet and tearing us apart for years, yells Dr. Haggis. The group is gearing up to battle against something really bad tonight.
So you see where this is converging. There's creatures in the cemetery that these people are about to, try to blow up, and bad guys coming because
they want to dig up the cemetery.
They want to dig up the money in the cemetery.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, mafia meets heroes, and yeah, it's kind of a mishmash.
Yeah, Martens arrives just after dark and is quickly grabbed by Catherine. Bennett and his people are right behind him. There's a quick scuffle as everyone gets to know each other. Bennett says he wants the money, but no one knows what he's talking about except for Martens, who plays dumb. His people disable all the bombs spread around the cemetery. Okay, they were ready for the things that were going to attack, and now they're not.
Yep, disabled. So, the attack is coming then, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
There's going to be an attack.
That's a problem.
All right, we'll let it go from there. This is based on the H.P. Lovecraft story of the same name. The creature effects are good. The creatures are kind of cool.
They are cool looking, yes.
There's a lot of action, but this didn't really do much for me. It's like they were aiming for more of an action vibe than a horror movie. Didn't quite achieve either.
Yeah, the creature effects are decent, but they lost me because one of the creatures speaks.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds just like the Cookie Monster.
Wow.
The creatures sound like the Cookie.
We killed you. I can't even do it.
I can't imitate the Cookie Monster effectively, but they were. It was a decent impersonation.
It did sound like that.
It's hard to be scared when you're snickering. Yeah.
Cookies.
I thought it was just okay, but I did like it more than dislike it.
All right.
Yeah.
1995's Castle Freak, directed by Stuart Gordon, written by Stuart Gordon, H.P. Lovecraft, and Dennis Paoli. Stars Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Jonathan Fuller, hour and a half, trailer in the usual place. I think this was my favorite of the week.
Okay.
I like the haunted castles.
Yeah, it's a cool setting.
Yeah. What happens?
Well, it's loosely based on a Lovecraft short story, different enough to be interesting. The cast does a really nice job with it, and like I said, the setting is awesome. It's a real castle. Decently made, and it moves well, and it's got oodles of practical gore effects. So we'd call it quite good overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Oh.
I did the spoiler for you.
Yes, you did. And an old woman cuts up her unappetizing food. It's like moldy bread and all kinds of nastiness.
It doesn't look good. Yeah.
She then crosses the courtyard to the big castle and walks down to the dungeon. She opens the cell door and whips the screaming creature inside. After, she slides the plate of food inside and walks away. The whipping took a lot out of her, and she staggers back to the house where she dies from an apparent heart attack. Torture's hard.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And the credits roll.
You'd think it'd be a good, good workout, good arm workout, but apparently she overdid it. Yeah.
She forgot leg day.
Yeah.
Can't whip with that.
Mm-hmm.
John Riley, Susan, and Rebecca drive to the castle the family just inherited from that old woman. It's 700 years old and has the rats to prove it. Mr. Genetti is the local man who shows them around. He'll be in charge of liquidating the assets and selling the place. Agnes is the housekeeper, and she seems eager for them to sell and go away. You sell, you go.
Mm-hmm.
You sell,
Simple.
you go.
Simple, yeah.
John and Susan are having some marital issues. Rebecca, the daughter, is blind and can hear them arguing. We get a flashback to drunken John causing a traffic accident that blinded Rebecca and killed their son JJ. Susan has not forgiven him for it. That night, John wakes up to hear wailing from the basement and thinks it might be JJ. He finds a huge wine cellar, and he cuts his hand on a broken bottle. Agnes talks about the Duchess's son, Giorgio, who died when he was 5 years old. The Duchess then fired all the servants and didn't leave the castle for the next 42 years. Everyone says the old Duchess was crazy, and they say that even today you can hear Giorgio crying at night.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, well, it's a horror movie, so it's not a great leap.
And who was that she was whipping in the basement?
Well, in the morning, John and Rebecca go through the rooms to do an inventory. They find a nursery. They also find a big bloody whip under the bed. Fresh blood.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca finds the Duchess's old cat and follows it downstairs to the cell where the creature lives. Creature eats the cat, but being blind, she doesn't see anything. She thinks there's someone else in the castle, but her parents don't believe her, of course. Always works that way, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Which is just silly because it's a huge old place.
There very well could be somebody living in there.
Very well could be squatters and people hiding there. Yeah.
Meanwhile, downstairs, the creature breaks free, as we knew was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It smashes a mirror, and everyone hears that. That night, the creature comes into Rebecca's bedroom and gives her a good scare. John finally starts to search and soon finds a dungeon where the creature's been locked up. He also finds some tombs with a photo of little Giorgio. Guess who Giorgio looks like?
Little did JJ.
What a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
John tells Susan about the photo, but it's gone when he shows her. This results in an argument about him killing their son. Soon after, John starts drinking again. He goes to the bar in town and brings a hooker home with him to raid their wine cellar. As you do when your family's in the upstairs.
Right.
The creature watches as they make out, and he likes it. The creature's kind of a little perv.
Mm-hmm.
And as the prostitute tries to find her way out, the creature follows her and has his way with her as well.
Ooh.
All right, and things escalate from there. You kind of know where this is going. You know where this is going from the opening scene, really.
Yeah.
And this one is loosely based on the H.P. Lovecraft story, The Outsider. Very loosely based.
Very loosely.
Yeah, we did a short a couple of months ago on The Outsider, and that's much more like what the original story was.
Mm-hmm.
The creature effects are very good. The creature's something. He's quite well done.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's good makeup.
The plot moves along pretty quickly, although it's nothing especially innovative, and it is a fine example of mid-90s full moon horror. And you read in the trivia that the castle that it was shot in was owned by the guy who runs Full Moon.
Yeah, one of the top people at Full Moon.
I guess there's money in this here schlock.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed this one. But Jeffrey Combs is always good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
a fine specimen of '90s horror. That's what this is.
Yeah, these are about the only Lovecraft movies I could find this week that we haven't already done. So if we skipped over your favorite this week, go to horrorguys.com, type in the name. It's probably going to be in there.
Mm-hmm. We've done a lot.
Of course, if you can find them that we haven't done, let us know and we'll take a look.
Yeah.
But for our last one for the week, we have the Necronomicon, Book of the Dead from 1993.
This did not originate in Evil Dead.
No, the Necronomicon's older than that.
And I did not know that. For years, I did not realize. I thought that they made it up for the Evil Dead movie.
No.
I did not know that.
I had a paperback in the 90s called Necronomicon. It was like a little spell book.
Cool.
It was a very big seller at the time. Directed by Christoph Gans, Shusuke Kaneko, and Brian Yuzna. Written by Brent Friedman, Christoph Gans, and Kazunori Ito. Stars Jeffrey Combs,
Yep, again.
Tony Azito and Juan Fernandez, an hour and 36 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. Spoiler free. Oh, it's an anthology.
An anthology of 3 tales.
There's the first one is the wraparound story called The Library. And we hear H.P. Lovecraft himself talking about a time when he found out about the Necronomicon, and he needed it for his writings. See, his stories are all true, and he needed research.
Based on actual research he did. Yeah.
The book is supposed to hold the secrets of the universe, and he talks to a creepy librarian and steals his keys. An attendant watches Howard sneak downstairs and unlock the vault using the stolen keys. The vault is surprisingly cooperative, and he finds the book quickly. As he reads the book, something opens on the back of the vault. Yep, it's an anthology.
And we get the first story.
Part 1, The Drowned. Nancy talks to Edward, who has inherited this old hotel. As they walk around, we see there's a huge sub-basement in the place. She recommends that he sells the place, as it's all going to collapse someday soon. They admire a painting of Emma, Edward's aunt. Her husband Jethro died just a few days later, probably of suicide after diving off the balcony.
Yeah, that's like the very balcony that they're standing on.
Yeah. And we flash back to Edward and Clara driving. There was a crash and she died. Okay, well, I'm not going to read all the parts of this because that's just spoilery. But there's 3 parts and a wraparound.
Mm-hmm. There's creatures and madness and evil and, yeah, all sorts of fun things.
Yeah. So H.P. Lovecraft looks an awful lot like Jeffrey Combs with a prosthetic nose and chin.
He did in this, yeah.
Or maybe that was Bruce Campbell without any makeup at all. It's hard to tell.
No, it was
There's
Jeffrey
a resemblance
Combs.
there.
It was Jeffrey Combs.
Well, Jeffrey Combs, Richard Lynch, David Warner, and Don Calfa. It's got a great cast of 90s horror people, and they all do really well here.
Even other faces are recognizable. Stuff, like, oh, they were in, oh, yeah, I recognize them. And,
yeah. All the stories are good. I thought that last one dragged on a little bit too long. And the second one was a little bit too short.
So it's a little
but they were all
lopsided,
good, though.
Yeah, worthy viewing, yeah. Who knew that H.P. Lovecraft wrote his stories from a real-world inspiration?
Yeah. Okay, The Drowned was one H.P. Lovecraft story. Part 2, Cold Air, was another H.P. Lovecraft story. Part 3 was called Whispers. And, of course, The Library. The Library was not based on the Lovecraft. That's a fictional wraparound. But the other 3 are Lovecraft stories.
Uh-huh. And it was pretty darn good.
Yeah. Decent.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, that is the rest of the Lovecraft story. If you want to read about H.P. Lovecraft's life, what he lived through, what he thought about the world, stop on in and pick up your free book. It's at... if you don't find the link in the show notes, there is a link in the show notes. But if you want to, you can go over to horrormonthly.com, look under the label for Hour Long Press. There's a whole page of biographies there.
Yeah, there is.
Or go to hourlongpress.com.
And if you ever get the hankering to read some Lovecraft, his stories, Project Gutenberg, just do an online search for Project Gutenberg.
I think it's gutenberg.org.
And other sites out there. It's easy to find. Just do an online search, and Lovecraft's books and stories are out there. Yeah,
I remember back in the 90s, the Project Gutenberg was out there with all these big old hunkin' text files, and you had to go through like an editor and read them.
It's much more user-friendly now.
There's buttons there where you can email them to your Kindle and stuff like that, and there's so much more nicely formatted. It's improved a lot over the 30 years since it's been there.
Yeah, it has.
Well, that is it for this week. Next week, I think we'll watch some... I can't afford Disney this week.
Not Disney.
I want to watch Disney, but we can't afford Disney.
We've got Disney at home.
We've got Disney at home week coming up next week. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.